What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Double D Report. This week is our first week without football. I know we've only been as a football podcast. Obviously, the Eagles are champions. I'm going to be saying this every week till football starts again. I'm sorry, but we're champions. But this week, we're going to be talking heavily on the NHL, which is God tier right now. Let's just say it's God tier. We're obviously going to do our what-if scenario that we created and a bunch more. But first, Dean, we got to start off with our Four Nations tournament.
Yes, I am hyped. Finally, I get to speak about something that I'm passionate about, not the Eagles. And it is hockey and the NHL, which organized this tournament that we've been talking about for the last few weeks, which is the Four Nations tournament. It has been airing over the last week now. The NHL replaced the All-Star game this year with the Four Nations tournament. They kind of put it inside that All-Star break. For anybody who didn't watch it, you're missing out big time. But it is the U.S., Canada, Sweden, and Finland. We're going to go over some of the games on how they went. We're going to go over viewership, what the NHL did right, what other leagues did wrong, what the games were like. This is going to be a very fun topic for me. As you can see, we're all hyped, baby.
All right, let's just say this. I used to not watch hockey.
Yep.
I used to mainly watch the hockey playoffs because what I've heard, hockey playoffs is the best playoffs. So I used to watch that. But now watching this Four Nations tournament has changed everything.
Yep.
Everything. All right, you're very passionate about this. Do you want to start this off?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, the reality is if you're not a hockey fan or you're not an NHL fan, this was the time to get into it, right? This is some of the most exciting hockey that you're going to watch. These players, this is not just an exhibition game or, an exhibition tournament game to them. They're playing for their countries. They're going out there, throwing bodies, throwing hits, slap shots, blocking the puck left and right. I mean, there's passion beyond passion when it comes to this tournament. So if you want to get into hockey, this was the time to do it. And not to mention all that, all of these games were prime time, prime television channels, ABC, TNT, ESPN. This was the event to watch. And I want to start it off with what the NHL did right here, right? This was the first weekend with no football whatsoever, right? Just coming off the Super Bowl, massive leagues had to make strides into gaining that viewership back because there is no more weekend football now. We don't have to look forward to Thursday night games, Sunday night games, Monday night games, none of that. So all these other leagues have an opportunity, as of they always do every year, to build viewership, right? Two leagues had massive things going on this past weekend. The NHL did the Four Nations tournament, and the NBA did their All-Star game. And my God, did the NHL have a historic win for this week. They dominated viewership across all platforms. They dominated competitiveness. They dominated new fans. They dominated everything you could ever want with this tournament. They did it perfect, to perfection. And just to throw out some numbers, the USA-Canada game, which was probably the most touted game inside of this tournament, right? And not to mention, we're going to get it a second time in the championship, but we'll get to that too. The first USA-Canada game had a total of 10.1 million viewers within North America for that game. That is the highest NHL game since the Stanley Cup in 2014.
It was the Rangers,
2014.
right?
And that was when the Rangers were playing in it. So you can understand how it got so high with a New York market.
Rangers and Los Angeles.
Yes. So this was such a historic win for the NHL to get that much viewership, to get that many eyes on their product. And it was an absolute amazing event to watch. In the first 9 seconds of the game, there were 3 fights. If anybody wants to go watch the greatest 4-minute hockey video of all time, it's that 9 seconds of fights in the first game. It lasted 4 minutes. Puck drops, fight. Next puck drops, fight. Next stoppage, fight. It was just an unreal experience to watch, and I would recommend it to pretty much everybody out there.
Yeah, the obviously like the game was getting started. I was like, all right. I was like, who the fuck's gonna win this game? The puck is dropped. I see. I think it was Brady Kachuk who's dropped the gloves, or was it Matthew?
The first one was Matthew Tkachuk against Hagel.
Yeah, it was Matthew Kachuk versus Hagel, which was hype.
Yep.
They
It was unbelievable.
rolls up the sleeves and just starts squabbling. I was I was so hyped just in the first fight, and then you could see if there's an angle that they showed on, I think it was TNT, that his brother Brady
Yep.
went called the shot pretty much. Said
Yep.
you and me are next. Who did he fight next? Who was the next fight? It was Brady
So
and
yeah, it was Matthew Tkachuk as soon as the puck dropped off against Hagel, right? And then right after that, as his brother is just getting settled in the box, Tkachuk's brother, Brady, then goes and fights Sam Bennett, who just was brought into the Canada lineup for the first time that night because they were expecting a more heavy fought battle against the US. All right. Brady probably got the better of that one. Matthew and Hagel was probably an even fight. And then the third fight happened with JT Miller, who I'm partial to because he's a Ranger. He dropped the gloves with Colton Parayko, who, for anybody who doesn't know, Parayko's a big dude.
he fucked
Parayko
up.
fight Parayko fights for a living, right? So a lot of people were commemorating JT for even trying to fight him, and look, JT lost the fight.
He
All
got
right,
fucking
so,
clobbered.
so it was 1-1 basically, but that pretty much set the tone for the night, right? 5 minutes later into the game, Connor McDavid scores the first goal for Canada. The roof off of the Bell Center in Montreal was almost torn off by how much cheering there was for Canada.
Yeah.
And then a few minutes after that, the U.S. come back and score by Jake Gensel. And by that point on, the U.S. pretty much dominated the whole game in a very impressive and convincing win. And just for anybody who doesn't know, this was the first time the U.S. has beat Canada in a best on best tournament game in like 20 plus games. So this was a big deal. It was just electric. It really was.
Wasn't there a reason to why they dropped the glove? It's because Canada booed during the national anthem, right?
Yeah, so there was a few reasons. The Canadian fans were constantly booing the U.S. national anthem during the previous game and the Canada game for political reasons, which we won't get into, but they were booing it. And obviously, being the prideful sons of bitches that United States of America people are, the players took exception to that, right? And there was a group chat formed between the Tkachuk brothers and JT Miller, and they pretty much said going to this game, we're gonna fuck shit up.
I
and
love
it
that.
kind of held true throughout the game. Charlie McAvoy laid massive hits down, one being against Connor McDavid after his goal, basically saying you're not doing that again. Right? Brady Tkachuk made a man go airborne
Hit him with
on
the
the
glass.
boards. Yeah, on the boards. So the physicality of this game definitely took paramount. And that's really the identity of the United States national team, right? We're not the fastest because Canada has that. We're probably not the most skilled because, to be fair, Canada probably has that too. But my God, are we the toughest? And we have some of the best defense in the world, and we have the best goalie in the world. So that's where our identity played, and it worked, right? The U.S. came out of there with a 3-1 win. Canada scored in the first 5 minutes of the game, did not score again the rest of the game. So that's the blueprint, and that's what everybody's waiting for come Thursday night.
One thing I really want to talk about is obviously like how it all like the first game was it was an overtime game,
Yep.
which was the game was electric. To start off, it set the tone for how good this tournament is going to be.
Yeah, it's the truth. No, it was Canada versus Sweden. A lot of people going into this tournament thought Canada and the United States were going to blow it out of the way, right? It was going to be just a straight shot to the championship, so be it, whatever. I think it's really impressive on how hard these players play for their country, because while Sweden and Finland aren't exactly on par with the talent that Canada and the United States have, all these games were competitive, right? Every single team in this tournament wound up winning a game. Sweden wound up beating the United States last night to finish up the tournament. Finland beat Sweden in an overtime game, which we didn't even talk about yet, which was another rivalry game, because for anybody who doesn't know geography, Finland and Sweden are right next to each other, and they're a bunch of angry fucks when it comes to hockey, basically like United States and Canada. So Saturday was a whole rivalry day. And that was awesome too because that game went into overtime as well.
And the way they
So
ended was insane.
it was unbelievable, right? So the parity of these teams being able to go into this with such competition was another massive winning point for the NHL and their fans. None of these games were blowouts. I shouldn't say that. The very first United States game against Finland was a blowout, right? But other than that, there was no blowouts. All of these games were at the most two score games, and all of them, other than the one blowout, they were all games going into the third period
Hmm.
in the last few minutes of the third period. So it was truly awesome to watch, and we're not done yet.
Yeah, we're not done yet. One thing I have to ask is like obviously there will be, I'm assuming the NHL is going to award an MVP trophy for who played the best in the tournament. In your eyes, if you're the commissioner of hockey and you have to give out the MVP trophy without this championship game being played, who would you give it to?
See, that's so tough. That's a horrible question because the championship game is going to have a lot to do with it. If Canada wins, it's going to be a Canadian player. If United States wins, it's going to be a US player. So, if I had to pick one on each team for the time being at least, on Canada, it's hard not to give it to Crosby. Crosby has had an unbelievable tournament.
I have.
This guy is he's had an unreal tournament, right? 3 assists in the opening game. Keep in mind, this guy is in his mid 30s. He's the captain of Canada. He's been here before. He played 9 years ago when the last best on best competition happened. So it's been a long time in between then. 3 assists in the first game, an assist in the second game, a goal and 2 assists in the third game. I mean, he is Captain Canada. He really is, right? And then if you look on the United States side, it's so bearing the championship game. It's so hard not to give it to Connor Hellebuck, who is our goaltender, right? He played, so for anybody who doesn't know, they gave him the day off in the last game against Sweden. But in the first 2 games of the tournament, he gave up 1 goal each game. That's just unreal, right? This guy's the best goalie in the world. He's a two-time Vezina winner. By the way, the Vezina Trophy in the NHL is for the best goaltender, for anybody who doesn't watch hockey. Two-time Vezina winner. This year, he leads the NHL in goals against. He's second in save percentage. He's first in wins in the NHL, and he's first in shutouts. So he's well on his way to a back-to-back Vezina and his third of his career.
Which is crazy.
Like, not only is he the best goalie in the world right now, he's starting to have conversations of being the best U.S. goalie of all time, right? And that's in conversations with Jonathan Quick, Mike Richter, Johnny Van Beesbrook. I mean, these are who else am I missing? I'm missing a big one, and I'll get back to it. I think Ryan Miller. I mean, these are huge, just idols of U.S. hockey, and he's already up there. And he has a lot more to go. He's only 31 years old. Thank God for U.S. fans, because we're going to see him a lot in coming tournaments. Um, excuse me, but those are my two MVPs before the championship game.
All right. I'm gonna disagree with you on the. I'm 100%. First, I'm gonna start off and agree with you on the American side, because Hellbuck he's been playing outstanding. Some of the saves he's been making, crazy. Which is obviously it's like my first time ever like sitting down and watching these hockey games consecutively. So I don't know like actually how good he is. But seeing what he did, allowing 1 goal in the games he's played, is insane. Against a high-powered offense with fucking Canada, ridiculous.
Yep.
Ridiculous. So obviously I'd give it to him. If obviously the game is close, if the game is a one-score game, he'll probably win it. But I will have to disagree with you on the Canada side. And I think it's a fair assessment to make. I would give it to Nathan McKinnon.
Okay.
Because obviously he scored 2 goals in his last game.
Yep.
Almost got a hat trick, but hit the post, I believe. Post is a bitch. And he scored in the first game. And he scored I believe he scored every game besides the one against US. And
That's 2 out of 3 games, Derek. Go you.
Fuck off. But he's played very well in the tournament, and he's obviously he's aside Crosby, McDavid, a lot of good players on that team. So I
Yep.
think I feel like that he will be leaning more towards because he's scoring goals than assists. If you know what I mean.
That's fair. Look, the way I look at it also is McKinnon and McDavid are very similar type of players, right? Similar type of prototypes. And they're very similar stat lines in this tournament, believe it or not, right? They're both scoring a lot of goals. The one thing that I just look at with Crosby is he does all the other intangibles, and he's been here before. He's the captain. He hits, he scores, he assists on all the major goals. I mean, this is a guy who has been here before, done it before. If anybody watched the game against Canada versus Finland, right, to clinch Canada into the championship game, it was basically winners plays the United States in the championship. They're up 4-1 in the third. Finland scores 2 quick goals to make it a 4-3 game with 1:20 left. And everybody in the stadium is like, holy shit, is Canada going to blow this? Me, myself included, I wanted them to blow it because fuck Canada. But he laid a massive hit in the neutral zone in one swift motion, got his ass up from the hit, and scored in the empty net to finish off the game to send Canada to the championship. I mean, that just epitomizes what a captain does. Laying it out there on the line for your country, doing everything you possibly can to give your team the best chance to win.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I would choose over that. You're 100% right. McKinnon has had a great tournament, right? 3 goals, couple of assists. Awesome. Lights out.
Yeah, exactly. But mind you, like, just to go back to it, the Canada's front line, like their front, in fucking insane. Insane.
It's unbelievable to see the best on best games being played because you do have an opportunity, to your point, to see these unbelievable lines that you would never see in the history of the sport, right? You're never going to see McDavid, McKinnon, and Crosby play with each other ever again.
And don't forget about Taves or Makar in the back, which are
it's
ridiculous.
It really is ridiculous, right? And then you have on the United States side, you're never going to see defensive pairings such as Werenski and McAvoy again, right? You're never going to see these are just elite defensive pairs, elite offensive lines that these are things that you cherish because when it comes to the actual NHL, you're never going to have a super team like that.
No.
Like the NBA does where they just trade for players and buy players, right? It's really awesome to see. I mean, I already said the numbers, but this was the most viewed hockey game in what is it now? Not 11 years, which is just astounding.
It's great. It's great to see, because yeah, because hockey, obviously, you and me can both agree, has been on the downturn.
Yep,
they've been spiraling a little bit, but they're bringing it back up. With obviously when the playoffs comes around, everyone watches it, and then now with this Four Nations tournament, like, I know they can't do this every year, but they should do this every fucking year.
The thing with the NHL is they've always been a good league, right? With a lot of action, a lot of competitive balance. They just haven't been put on the map as much as other sports, right? You look at the NFL, they have their prime time, right? Sundays are for football. Everybody in the world knows it, right? The NHL just hasn't marketed themselves to the best of their potential. But now they're getting new TV deals where they're on TNT, TBS, ESPN, prime time games every single week for the world to see, right? They're having the Four Nations tournament. This is the first best on best tournament in 9 years. It has not disappointed. People love it. They've already agreed NHL is going to be participating in the Winter Olympics next year. So you're going to get another best on best tournament. And they just passed it where you will have a World Cup of Hockey every 2 years.
That's amazing.
With the Winter Olympics. So 2 years, Winter Olympics, 2 years, World Cup of Hockey. You're going to have these tournaments now moving forward almost every other year, which is phenomenal to see.
It's great for business,
honestly. It needed to happen.
Yes.
Because now people have eyeballs on the game and they're starting to realize, holy shit, hockey's awesome.
Yeah. Well, real quick, we need...
Yeah.
Before, as we're talking about this, with hockey getting better, I just want to go over one quick thing. How other sports are pretty much progressively getting worse.
That was going to be my next point, right? I think I mentioned it earlier. This was the first weekend without football. This was a massive weekend for both hockey and basketball, NHL and NBA to make a name for themselves, right? To really put the viewers on the map that football's done, it's our time now. We've talked about all the reasons on why the NHL has just slam dunked, and I mean to be the pun with basketball, slam dunked on the NBA. The NBA All-Star Game was a travesty.
Horrible.
A fucking travesty. The skills competition, me and you could have put up a more entertaining skills competition.
Honestly.
As soon as I saw Chris Paul and Wemby go in the skills competition, I turned the television off. That's disgraceful.
It's fucking horrible. Like, all right, let me just because I would say I watch a little more basketball than you.
You go.
Okay, let me start off with this. First of all, I want to say one thing, and I'm starting off by saying this. I would never say this normally. LeBron James is a fucking pussy.
Oh, here we go.
This stupid motherfucker. Mind you, I love him. I grew up watching him. He's my MJ. But the fact that he said, all right, I'm questionable for an All-Star game. You're questionable for an All-Star game. Don't play. If you feel a little soreness, don't play and let someone else play. Instead, this fucking gigantic pussy said in a press conference, yeah, I'm not going to be suiting up for tonight. Are you fucking kidding me?
And then on top of that, on your point, right? Look, I love LeBron too. He's probably the greatest NBA player of all time. Definitely in our lifetime.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
On top of that, he goes and takes a picture with the rest of the team in street clothes before the game.
I saw that. I wanted to go to San Francisco and beat the living shit out of him.
But that's just something that shouldn't happen from the face of the NBA, right? You have to be less selfish than that and have somebody else come in your place. Maybe a younger guy who's just coming up in the league who may not have another opportunity to make an All-Star game.
LaMelo Ball. The man got snubbed. He should be in that fucking All-Star game. Instead, he was sitting next to his brother listening to fucking Tweaker. This is fucking... It's... I don't understand this, how the NBA... They had the best thing in the world, the dunk contest. Everyone loved to watch it, and just every fucking year, it just takes a gigantic donkey shit. Every year. Fuck, don't get me wrong, Mac McClung is saving it a little bit. He's jumping over Kias, he's doing 360, he's doing his job. But all these other nobodies need to get the fuck out of the dunk contest. And... Another thing for I need to keep on going. I had some in my head. I need to let Sal.
Keep going. Keep going.
LeBron, he's also a big pussy for not being in the dunk contest. When he was young, he should have won the fucking dunk contest, and because he's the reason. He's the reason why Giannis, Ja Morant, Jalen Green. Well, he was in it before. Jalen Green, Zion, all these other big dunkers aren't in it. Anthony Edwards. Do the dunk contest. It's for entertainment. But the only side I see why they don't do it is because there's no benefits in doing it. The NBA is so rich. You could play in Abu Dhabi. You could play in fucking Japan. Just fucking pay to win the dunk contest. Do something.
Well, to be fair, they do offer a prize to win the dunk contest.
All right, what is it? A fucking handshake?
Look, it's not a lot. I think it's like $100,000. But at the same time, for a guy like McClung, he's made more in the dunk contest in his career than his actual career earnings.
Which is sad, by the way. Which is very sad.
I don't know if it's sad.
No. It's sad. It's not sad for him. It's like sad to see that's how he's making his income. The NBA saying, "All right, Mac McClung, you brought us some viewership. Come back." They're only bringing him in for that.
Look, I think the major disappointment when it came to the NBA All-Star Game, and it's been happening for years now, right? This is not just a this year thing. It's the competitiveness. It really is. These players, when they go into it, and it showed in the skills competition, it shows all the time in the NBA All-Star games, or now that they have this NBA tournament All-Star game, which who gives a fuck, they don't care. Nobody plays defense. They're just shooting up half-court shots. They're not like, it's not like they're playing an actual game, right? Which is why I think they lost a lot of viewers to the NHL for that exact reason. You flip the channel and you turn on the NHL. These guys are fucking fist fighting in an exhibition game for their country. This is the biggest difference between the two sides, and that's why the NHL dominated the weekend, and that's why the NBA flunked the weekend.
Yeah. You want to know what's so crazy? The highlight, in my opinion, of the NBA All Star Weekend is the Mr. Beast challenge in the commercial.
Yeah, the half court shot.
That was electric. Seeing a kid with the buzzer going off, making a shot for $100,000.
Yep. Look, it's just a shame because a lot of people do love the NBA, and I think the NBA has definitely been going a little bit downhill over the last few years, just because, for lack of a better term, like the regular season has been meaning less and less in the NBA, right? You have your set teams, you have your shit teams, and then when it comes to playoff time, the first rounds are usually just destruction. And then you actually start having some serious competition come the quarterfinals and semifinals,
Yeah.
which I think is an ongoing issue at the NBA, right? It's nice for me to see, right? Because I've always been an NHL fan. And I think they're finally getting the recognition they deserve because people are finally realizing how much of a fucking awesome sport it is, especially when the games are this competitive. And I don't think people realize it as much as they do now. Most of the games are like this, right? The NHL is by far the most competitively balanced league in all of sports.
Oh yeah, by far.
Every single game, the underdog has a chance to win, especially in the playoffs. It's not every year the President's Trophy winner, who, by the way, for anybody who doesn't watch the NHL, is the team that finishes with the best record in the league. They don't win almost never. I think the last President's Trophy team to win the Stanley Cup was like 6 years ago, which is just astounding. I'm gonna take a look at it to fact check myself. 2013.
Jesus Christ.
So I'm going to start that over again, right? Most of the time in the NBA, when you finish it, first of all, the last, I think, fact check me on this, editor, but I'm almost 100% certain I'm right. The last 30 NBA championship winners have been 1, 2, or 3 seeds in their conference. That is unreal. I am 99% sure that is accurate. And then when you look at the flip side, the 1 seed in the NHL, the last time a President's Trophy winner, the best team in the NHL, record and point wise, won the Stanley Cup was the 2012-2013 season. That's the competitive balance that I'm talking about here, right? Anybody can win the Stanley Cup if you make it to the playoffs and you get hot. You cannot say the same about the NBA.
Oh no.
You just can't. The 8 seed, the 7 seed, the 6 seed, the 5 seed, and the 4 seed have proven time and time again in each conference they will not and cannot win the NBA championship.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing.
It's disgraceful. The NBA is starting to piss me the fuck off.
It's disappointing, but at the same time, I'm a happy camper because my beautiful sport of NHL gets more recognition, and I'm very happy that so many eyeballs are on it. And I pray to God, and we're gonna talk about the viewership after the fact, but I guarantee you on Thursday night, prime time, ESPN, USA versus Canada, it's gonna have more than 10 million viewers.
I love how this game, how it's on a Thursday. Like, it's not, we don't have to wait. They're like this. All right, we need to get this out so we can start up the season again. I think it's Saturday.
The season starts right away on Saturday.
But there's obviously I just shit on the NBA. I don't want a fucking league to escape. The NFL, what they did, actually is I might be a little depressed from it. I saw a clip the other day and I almost cried. I saw obviously the famous clip of Sean Taylor absolutely annihilating a quarterback in a Pro Bowl. I was like, huh, when was the last time this happened?
Look, the issue with all these sports, right? The NHL, even their All-Star game is starting to get a little bit where the players don't care as much. But however, they're definitely, them in baseball still are definitely the top tier where players actually play. But the NBA and the NFL consistently over the last 10 to 15 years has just continuously their players just not given a shit about the Pro Bowl and the All-Star game. They just don't care. And they go into it. I mean, for fuck's sake, the NFL it's not even a Pro Bowl anymore. It's a flag football game, Derek.
I could watch a Pop Warner flag football game.
I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like back then, people used to have these players used to have pride against going against the best players in their respective sport. Right? They would lay it out there on the line for everybody to see that out of the best players, I'm the best. They don't give a shit anymore. They're throwing lobs from half court. Curry's over here shooting threes from the logo almost every possession. Fucking you have Karl Anthony Towns shooting from the logo. What are we doing here?
That pissed me. When I saw Cat pull up from half, I'm like, get the fuck out. Sit on the bench.
And then on not that we're not going to get into the NFL, but a flag football game. Go fuck yourself, Roger Goodell.
Oh my god, he's a stupid fuck. I hate him. But real quick, and there's also one thing. This is the only credit I want to give to the NBA, and it's one player specifically, Victor Wembanyama. I respect that young kid very much because he was actually. You could see he was actually trying. He was stretching for warm-ups. He was doing his little thing, like he was doing between the leg dunks during the practice. He was having fun, but he was actually trying. He wanted to win the MVP. And it's good to see a young player like him, damn near not even 21, can't even drink alcohol in fucking the States, but is able to do that. That's the only positive I'll say.
People can learn from it.
Yeah, I hope. I really.
It means stuff to these young kids because maybe not in Wembanyama's case because he's going to be back here multiple times. But some of these kids, like when you make an all-star game for the first time, it may be your only time.
Yeah.
So you want to show out your abilities, and I think that's where a lot of these get lost because the older players in the league, Curry, LeBron, KD, Kyrie, all these different players, they don't give a shit anymore about these games.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to talk about this depression and this horrible sport anymore. So we're going to go back to hockey. We're going to have a little more fun. And we have to talk about Thursday's game. We mentioned it a little bit, but we have to talk about this game. USA USA versus Canada. I think we know who you want to win.
USA versus Canada round 2, baby.
This game, obviously the first game we spoke about, the fights, a lot of people getting chucked into glass, the heavy hitting, the shots on goal. It was a great game.
Yep.
You said 10, what was it, 10 million? 10.2?
10.1 million viewers.
10.1 million.
America.
This is not even a hot take. I think it might double that. Maybe even triple.
There's a good chance this hits 20 million viewers, right? So, first game was in Canada, Montreal, the Bell Center. Great atmosphere, by the way, right? But Canada was home. Now they come to our turf. Championship game is in Boston. The USA does count as the home team here because they did win the head-to-head matchup. So that's going to be big for line changes. For anybody who doesn't know, home field advantage in hockey actually means something. I hate to break it to all you. It actually means something, right? You get to choose last who you put on the ice. So the other team chooses first, you choose last. That's a competitive advantage, right? So that's going to be big for the US. Just to tell you what you're going to be, what we're expecting to see come Thursday night, right? There have been multiple players. Matthew Tkachuk, Connor McDavid, and by the way, these are guys who have played in Game 7s of Stanley Cups. They said this is probably the most important game of their careers besides the Game 7 of the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
That's what this means to these guys. So, are we going to see... Can I guarantee you fights in the first 9 seconds of the game? Maybe not. Right? There may be. But can I guarantee you hits, speed, shooting the puck all over the place, chirping, fighting in front of the net? Absolutely.
And there's one thing also that I'd love to see that I haven't seen. Like, obviously, like, there's a minor injury, but, like, no one's getting hurt. They're laying... Like, not safe. They're not safe at all. These hits are fucking Ray Lewis going across the middle and hitting someone. It's like that. But it's not like hits that are like dirty hits that are causing injuries.
No, they're all clean. It's beautiful. The USA has had some injury concerns over the last few days. Both Tkachuk brothers were sitting out the last game due to injury. They're going to be ready to go come Thursday. The one big injury for the U.S. is Charlie McAvoy, who's probably one of their best defensemen. He will be out for Thursday, which is a big loss. Not to mention on the Canada side, Cale Makar who missed a game, but I believe he's going to be ready to go for Thursday.
He played, yeah.
I'm pretty sure
He missed the USA versus Canada.
he missed the USA game, right? So there's been some minor injuries, and you got to keep in mind the NHL wants these guys to be safe. So this isn't the NHL season. This is just an in-season tournament. So they don't want you to play, if you have a broken leg or something like that. So you do have to be safe on these types of situations. However, you're right. All these hits are clean. All of them are shoulder to chest, nothing to the head or anything like that. There's been no game misconduct penalties. There's been no fines, suspensions, anything like that, which is beautiful. That's the beauty of hockey, right? That's what you want to see. You want to see guys with passion going into the boards, hitting. If there's fights, sure. Go into the box for 5 minutes, cool down, get the crowd pumped up, go back out there and play some hockey. That's what you want to see.
Yes. Well,
So,
you
Derek. No, Derek. You get to go first. Let's hear your prediction.
Oh no. Okay.
I want winner, final score, and I want your tournament MVP.
I'm sticking with my gut and what I was thinking before this. We were recording this.
Okay.
I'm going to say, and I'm going to agree with you. I think the United States of America is going to take the trophy.
Okay.
I think the final score will be 3-2. This might seem crazy, but I don't know why I feel like it's going to happen. I think it's going to be an overtime game. Game-winning goal by Matthew Tkachuk.
Wow, okay.
But I do say that obviously USA will win, and the MVP will be Hellebuck.
Okay. So this is going to suck. I kind of hate that I let you go first. I'm agreeing with a lot of it. And I had this predetermined for anybody who thinks I'm bullshitting. I'm obviously a bigger hockey fan than Derek. I do think the USA wins. I do think they win by a score of 3-2.
That's crazy.
I don't think it goes to overtime, but I do think the United States gets their third goal with like 5 minutes to go in the third period.
That's crazy.
And Boston TD Garden goes absolutely berserk. You went in a step forward and you said the game-winning goal scorer, right? You said Matthew Tkachuk. I'm going to go the game-winning goal scorer. It's going to be bold, so bear with me. I am going to go with defenseman, Werenski. First line defenseman pair, Werenski. I think he's going to shoot it from the point. It's going to make its way through, right through fucking Jordan Binnington's stupid forehead. And the United States is going to win 3-2. And I've said it already. I think the MVP of this tournament and of the United States will be Connor Hellebuyck, just because of how he's the best goaltender in the world, and he's going to keep the United States in this game.
Yeah, I bet this is obviously I predetermined in my head that this was going to be the championship game because obviously they were the two best teams. But obviously seeing how they've been playing this tournament, I just don't see with the USA's momentum and their mentality going into this game. I don't see them losing. But
look, they're going to have to keep the same. Their blueprint to winning is the same as it's always been, Derek. Defense, physicality, and goaltending. And I think they stifled Canada the last time come around. I think they're going to stifle them again.
Yeah. And there's one thing I want to ask you. The puck, this is the one thing I like about hockey too for betting. This game is dead even. I'm pretty sure it's 115 to 115 or 110 to 110.
Yep.
It's amazing. It's love to see. But if the puck line is 5.5. The over under is 5.5.
Yeah.
Obviously with our score predictions.
Yeah.
Putting that aside, do you see if you're betting, would you bet the over or you bet the under?
If I'm betting here, I bet the under. Right? I think this is going to be. You got to look at it almost like this is Game 7 in the Stanley Cup, right? These teams are going to be very tight. They're going to try not to allow a lot of odd man rushes in the neutral zone. Goaltending is going to be a premium, and if you're going to bet on goaltending, who better to bet on than the best goaltender in the league, right? I don't think this is going to be a blowout by any means, so I don't foresee one team scoring 5 goals here. At the most, a team scores 4, and even then, I think this will be like a 4-2 final. So 5.5 is a very good line, but even so, with our predictions, betting wise, if you're a betting man, you should be taking the under here.
I'm in fact I'm in fact taking the under on this game. But I think this game is going to be huge overall. The overall conclusion, this is huge for hockey. This championship game, it's going to show and see, hey, can these fans transfer over from this all the way to the NHL season?
Of
Depending,
course, huge,
because
huge.
I
Yes, the viewers that you get from this, you hope exactly to your point, they translate over and watch games on Saturday on
yes,
ESPN.
yes.
It's you hope that's the hope here.
Me as a fan, I'm becoming a fan. Like I'm not a true fan, but if I was to root for a team as a team that just started, it's the Krakens. They're not a new team. It's not much to learn. I'm starting fresh.
Yep.
But this is making me want to like watch hockey more, and I can't imagine how other people are seeing because this shit was going all over TikTok, X, Instagram. It was ESPN. It was amazing. But one thing I will the congratulations to the NHL for doing something good. After football, this was huge, huge, huge for right a week after the Super Bowl to have the Four Nations tournament. Literally a day, 2 days after, I believe, or was it a week
Yep.
after?
Week after.
A week after.
No, 3 days after. Started on Wednesday night.
Yeah, 3 days after the Super Bowl, you have this. It's great to see, and you love to see it. Anything
Yeah,
else you want to say about this?
just a couple of quick things to end it. One, me and Derek will be doing a reactionary emergency pod after the game. It'll come out sometime this coming weekend. Regardless of who wins, I will be wearing this jersey proudful and prideful because I'm a fan. I love it. And two, I'm going to make a bold prediction because of this tournament and because of them gaining fans. I think this is going to be the most watched Stanley Cup playoffs in the last 10 years.
I agree. I can't disagree with that because how this is, I can't imagine people not wanting to tune into the playoffs.
There you go.
Well,
And on that, I will take off this jersey and you will all see it again come this weekend.
fair enough. As Dean's unclothing.
Yeah. Hey, look, I have to make money somehow, so I'm starting up an OnlyFans.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. Jordan be like Sophie Rain and all that.
No, no, no. I don't have the ass for that. I'm just gonna do feet pics.
That's, that's fair. All right. We are going to stay on the topic of hockey. I want to speak about one specific person, Alex Ovechkin, the Russian beast. He is 16 goals away from breaking the greatness record.
Hmm.
Dean, do you see him breaking it anytime soon?
I see him breaking it this year. Um, the Capitals have 33 games left to go. My bad. Bad math. 28 games left to go in the season. As you mentioned, he needs 16 more to break the record. This is a team that, for anybody who doesn't know, the Capitals are first in the National Hockey League in terms of point percentage as of this moment. So this is not just the Alex Ovechkin show. This is a legitimate hockey team going out there every day and winning games. I mean, they're 36, 11, and 8. They're
Ridiculous.
6-1-3 in their last 10. This is a very good hockey team. And Ovechkin is just that veteran leadership guy who continuously scores goals. So it's not like they're just trying to feed him the puck. These goals this year are coming in a natural occurrence for him, right? In the course of play, just trying to win games. So I do think with 28 games remaining, he will get there this year before the playoffs come.
If you could give it a time span, how many games? With him playing in all these games, what would you give him? How many games?
I think it's gonna be close to the end. 28 games to go. I mean, look, it's tough to put a game perspective on it just because of how things can change. He's got 26 goals in 55 games, right? So for anybody who could do really quick math, that's about a goal every other game. So he would have to actually outpace that in order to hit it this year.
You have to score two
So if he
goals.
is So if he is going to hit it, it would have to be in one of the last games of the year. I think it is going to take him like the second to last, third to last game of the year to fully hit it.
Now, in your opinion, with this, that's, 'cause I don't think it will, but I want to know your opinion. Do you think it'll solidify him as one of the greatest hockey players of all time?
He's already this. He doesn't need this to be one of the greatest hockey players of all time. He is one of the greatest hockey players of all time.
Like, how far would you? I obviously not that big a hockey fan. How far would you say he is away from Gretzky?
Oh, that's such a loaded question, man. I'm gonna say so. In terms of the greatest players to ever play this game, right? So Gretzky, Gap, next players. I don't even think Ovechkin's the like second or third best player because I think Crosby's ahead of him personally. Right? Like I've watched both of these players my entire life, right? And don't get me wrong, they are probably the best players of my lifetime, and that's just because of their longevity. By the time it's over, maybe it's McDavid, maybe it's Austin Matthews, who knows, right? These are players that are coming up generation. Maybe it's McKinnon too. I don't want to, push him away because he's a goal scoring maniac too. Um, However, in that point, I mean, just to give you some instance, right? This guy, Alex Ovechkin, is coming up on 1,600 career points. That's pretty great, right? I just think about that. He's almost at 900 goals and he's at over 700 assists. That is
Ridiculous.
ridiculous, right? And then just to put into perspective, he's coming up and he's been in the league since '05. So this is his 20th year. He's coming up on 1,600 points. Wayne Gretzky in that same way, he has in 20 years in the NHL 2,800 points. Think about that.
Holy
Think about that.
shit!
So that's the craziness here. He has 2,800 points. He had 1,900 assists, Derek.
Jesus fucking Christ!
Like that's how far Gretzky is ahead of others. So there's 82 games in a season, Derek. Wayne Gretzky, not once, not twice, not three times, four times in his career, had over 200 points in a season. So he was averaging over 2 points a game.
All right, let me just say this though, and this might be a crazy statement to say. I might get a lot of hate for this, but I don't care. He was going against start of his career. The way that I feel like goaltending back in the day was so much harder to save anything that it is now. So I feel like it's harder to score now than it was back in the day.
I don't disagree with that, but it's the same argument with like MJ, for example, right? The you can't it's so hard to compare errors because what he did in his era is still ridiculous.
Yes, yes, yes.
If you just read off those stats like I did, that's insane. Four-time Stanley Cup winner. Ovechkin's only one. Nine-time Hart winner. Nine times, Derek. But for anybody who doesn't know, once again, who doesn't know NHL, the Hart Trophy is the MVP trophy of the NHL. Ovechkin's a three-time Hart Trophy, which in his own right is fantastic. That's three-time MVP. That's insane too. So I'm not going to push away from him. But the gap between Gretzky and anybody else who has ever played this game is astonishing.
Yes. I did not know it was that much of a difference, and I am sorry for even bringing them in the same conversation.
Well, look, it should happen because Ovechkin is one of the greatest players to ever play the game. So to have them in the same conversation isn't outlandish. It's just when you put the stats next to each other, it's crazy. There's a reason why Wayne Gretzky is called the Great One.
That is insane.
Yeah.
20. Oh my fucking god.
2,857 points in his career, almost 2,000 assists.
2,000 assists by far. That's fucking ridiculous.
The thing that always boggled my mind was this guy was averaging over 2 points a game, Derek. That's a goal and assist, two assists, two goals a game. A game. The betting line for him to score 2 points in a game was like minus 200.
That when you put it in that perspective, that's fucking insane.
There you go. I see. I got to put the perspective in with the youth.
Yeah, you gotta speak degenerate for me to understand.
Yeah, there you go.
But all right, well, I do think, but overall, to conclude everything, I do think he's gonna break this record. I don't think it's gonna be the last couple. I think it'll be within, I'd say, a week or 2 weeks of the last of the final game.
Okay.
So I think he'll get. I think he's gonna have a couple multi-score games to narrow it down. But I do think he breaks it, which would be a huge thing for him and his accolades to be the highest goal scorer. But I do think this is last year. I think after he breaks this, he's retiring because
We'll see.
the man is fucking old.
We'll see. Not only that, his team does have a legitimate chance this year to go far in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that's also another factor on whether or not he would retire or not. However, if he doesn't break it this year, he is 100% not retiring.
Oh, if he doesn't break it this year, he is going into next year and he's gonna probably destroy
He'll
it.
break he'll break it in like 5 games, but he'll play the whole year.
Yeah. Well, that concludes our NHL topics for now. Until our emergency pod for this game, which is gonna be fun to speak about this game. I'm very excited to speak about it. But I need to talk about one quick NFL topic. It's just huge right now
Hmm.
because we found another one. Someone who loves going to the spa. He loves touching balls.
Oh,
Justin Tucker.
yeah.
What the fuck, man? What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Uh, it, and he's one of the good ones too,
I
right?
know.
Maybe one of the best field goal kickers of all time in the NFL. It's now I think it's now well over 15
16.
massage therapists,
16.
16, who have accused him of inappropriate touching, for lack of a better term, and pun intended here. He was getting rub and tucks. So
He was banned from two
yeah,
spas.
yeah. So very unfortunate to hear. w- Look, obviously, we want to see some facts come out first. The NFL is doing an investigation into this, of course, so we will get findings one way or another on whether or not these ladies are lying or not. However, most of the time, you would expect these types of fake scandals to go after huge players and not a
Just,
kicker.
yeah.
So I'm leaning towards this is true, and I'm leaning where I'm gonna have to start calling him rapist.
I know, it's so bad. I can't believe we're going to put Justin Tucker in the same scenario as fucking Watson. Oh, no.
It's unfortunate. Uh, the Ravens are going to have to make a decision before the year too, because to Deshaun Watson's point, he was suspended. You know, he did get suspended not only by the NFL but by his team in that same regard when these allegations came about. So the Ravens, with this investigation, they can't fuck around here. They can't just send him out there and kicking every game while the investigation is going on. That would be in poor taste. So hopefully this offseason the investigation concludes rather swiftly. We find out whether he's a true rapist or not. He gets suspended and he may or may not come back.
Maybe that's why he did so bad this season. Maybe he didn't get his rub and tugs.
Look, I'm not going to speak ill. I'm not gonna get into rape allegations or anything like that, but this is very disheartening to see from quite literally and maybe the best NFL kicker in the history of the game.
And obviously, this would put a huge damper. He would if this is true, he's not making the Hall of Fame. There's no way they put him in the Hall of Fame.
It would it would put a pretty big damper on it. I'm not gonna say never, because we quite literally have some murderers in the Hall of Fame, aka Ray Lewis. So I don't want to say never. However, when it does come to this sort of stuff, like, rape allegations, that's taken pretty seriously. It would definitely hurt his chances.
Yes. Let's just say this: if he makes it before T.O. did in a period of time, T.O.'s
Oh,
riding. T.O.
I mean, Tio may actually shoot Justin Tucker.
he he will no, not Tucker. He will go to the committee with an AK and just light that bitch up. That
It may not be the best of situations, to say the least.
yes, it will not be the best of situations. I know it's a very sad topic to talk about because obviously you and me, we've witnessed the best kicker
Yep.
of all time do his thing, and now this is happening. It sucks to see, but I hope whatever they figure out the problems and they solve it.
We're gonna find. I mean, we'll find her out sooner rather than later. The NFL has already delved into an investigation into it, so we'll see what comes of it as the offseason progresses.
Exactly. But we are going to move on to a new, I'd say, segment that we spoke about last week. It's
Mm-hmm.
called the What If segment.
What if?
I have a what if. I believe we spoke about this. We're each gonna do one. Now, do you want to do I give you one and you give me one and that's the one we have to do, or you want to do we both do one?
For this week, let's do one and one. So you give me one, I'll answer.
Okay.
I'll give you one, you answer.
Okay. Do you want me to start or you want to start?
You can start it.
Okay. So, my what if. Obviously, with big news coming on that Mr. A-Rod wants out of the Jets. He wants it gone. He wants to get the fuck out. So, this upcoming offseason, with getting rid of Aaron Rodgers, how do you rebuild the Jets? Mind you, we did speak about this a while back when the season was going on, but now the coach has been hired. It's in a completely different scenario. We know a couple things. What would you do?
So this could be a new Jets team, and I'm stating the obvious here, new coach, new general manager, so you got to go into a new direction here. They're mutually parting ways with Aaron Rodgers, so Rodgers will be off the books. They're most likely going to trade Davante Adams, so he'll be off the books. So if you're the general manager of the Jets, your first and only priority, as far as I'm concerned, is figuring out the quarterback situation for this upcoming year. All right, so whether or not that is drafting a quarterback that you really like in the draft at your position, so you got to assume Shador is gone at that point. So maybe you're looking at a Cam Ward, which a lot of people do like, to be fair. So maybe he's in the realm of possibility. You could always trade up for Shador Sanders if you really think he's the guy. You'd be giving up a lot, but that's what a new regime would do if they want to start it off right. Or you sign a 1-year deal or a 2-year deal with a quarterback on the market, such as such as a Sam Darnold, such as a Kirk Cousins, right? Such as a Russell Wilson. You could do that as a stopgap quarterback option and then, draft another one later in the next year or two. But you asked me, I'm the GM of the New York Jets. What I'm doing, I'm trading up for Shador, right? I am completely new regime, new coaching staff, new direction of the organization. I don't want any more old head quarterbacks ruining my team. I'm going balls to the wall and I am trading whatever they want to the Tennessee Titans to get Shador Sanders.
You think Shador is going number?
I think if a team is going to trade up to get him, they would have to trade up to 1 or 2, yes.
Okay, that's fair.
Because I think if he makes it to 3, there's a very realistic chance that the Giants take him.
Yeah, that's fair.
So if you're going to trade up for him, you're going to have to trade to 1 or 2. And if I'm the GM of the Jets, I'm calling Tennessee up. I'm like, what do you want? Just give it to me straight. Whether it's this first round pick and the next year's first round pick and the next 3 second-round picks, take it. This is the guy I believe in. This is the one I want to the face of my franchise to be for my regime. That's where I'm going. That's my decision as general manager of the New York Jets.
I think that's pretty good. Would you make any free agent signings or trade anyone in free agency that you can think of off the top of your head? Besides A-Rod.
Yeah, I'm trading Davante. I'm trying to shed his salary in any way, shape, or form I can. Even if I can get 50% salary retained, that's still a large chunk of money that I'm saving on Davante. In terms of free agents, I got to look at the market. If you want, you're still going to build around Garrett Wilson. I don't know if he's a bona fide one. So to your point, am I going to make a move with my new quarterback? Absolutely. I'm going to throw stupid money at T. Higgins.
Yeah, unless he's franchise tagged.
If he doesn't get franchise tag. If he gets franchise tag, I'm calling up tomorrow to see what the Rams want for Cooper Kupp.
That's good. That's smart. Because I'm pretty sure he said he wants out at Los Angeles.
Well, they're already agreed. They're mutually parting. The Rams will be trading Cooper Kupp this offseason. It's just a matter of to where. So if he costs, maybe if you can get him, if you're the Jets, if you can get him for like a third round pick, I think that's worth it. Especially if you go in my situation where you're just going for it and trading the house for Shador.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. And then you're also going to hate me for saying this, but I'm also going to start exploring trade options for Sauce. I'm going to try to get max value for Sauce Gardner.
You fucking moron.
That's my GM off season. Thank you for listening.
Okay. The last thing I want to actually smack the fuck out of you about, but
Oh,
I'm
no
not.
rebuttal.
I can't
Fuck you.
rebuttal. All right. So what do you have for me?
Okay. I'm going to go completely different sport. You're going to be the what if of the Los Angeles Angels general manager.
Oof.
Okay? So this offseason's over. Okay? Pretty much every big name has been signed. Your team is in complete disarray. You suck. You have sucked. Your entire organization sucks. You suck in general too, Derek, because you're a horrible general manager. However, you had a brain transplant, new brain, new GM. Next offseason, what are some moves you're making, even in season now? What sort of moves are you making, maybe trade-wise? What are you looking at to try to do anything you can to turn around the Los Angeles Angels organization?
Okay. All right. First thing, obviously, we do know that Michael Trout is moving from center field to right field.
We do know that.
Which
That is correct.
That was announced yesterday, I believe.
It was announced earlier this week, yes.
Yeah, it was announced early this week that he's moving to right field, which opens up center field.
Yep.
I'm obviously looking at going straight to the drawing board. Obviously, draft. This upcoming draft, you gotta look, analyze at what stars you want to take. It's not like the previous class to where like the Paul Skeens and all that, but you can still do something. Look, see who fits your system, and get them. But this is the one main thing that I want to do. Because this is me. I like to hear rumors. There's rumors going around with Mr. Alex Bregman going to Boston that Devers is not happy.
Okay.
So I would be like, all right, motherfucker. Devers, the babyface assassin, needs to go to LA. He needs to go to a big stage. And think about it. A Devers and a Mike Trout on the same team, both being healthy, like I would bet Devers obviously for the cleanup. But them two in the same lineup would be a huge. I would probably send a couple picks, a couple farm system players, obviously. I don't know like their entire farm system off the top of my head. Yeah. Send them over and get Devers. It will be a
big move.
Get Devers, which I think is very possible. I know. He said he doesn't want to move positions. He wants to stay where he is, which is kind of being a pussy, but that's fine. I respect it. You've been at that position your entire career. Stay there. You do you. Another thing, they don't have a pitching staff.
No, they do not.
I don't care what the fuck you have to do. I don't look at I can't think off the top of my head, but for example, like a Nathan Eovaldi.
Yeah.
On the Texas Rangers, I believe did he just signed was it an extension this year or no?
He signed, yes.
Yes. Obviously, you need to get a player like him, an older guy, but a good pitcher who still lasts. Just to go off the top of my head, I'm gonna look at a team and I could just think of instantly a player to grab off of them. I'm gonna go to Seattle because Seattle has a lot of good players and a lot of good pitching.
However, I'll just give a quick rebuttal to that one statement. And not a rebuttal, another question, because I can't rebuttal in this what-if scenario. Is Seattle really going to want to trade within division?
At this point, I don't think any team cares anymore. When you look across and you see the fucking Los Angeles Dodgers building a super team, I think at this point you're trying to help a team to stop them. I don't think that means anything.
Seattle has a lot of good pitchers. You're right. They have Luis Castillo. They have George Kirby. They have what's his name? The Asian kid or Asian name kid. Brandon Wu. So they do have some good players on that team, and I like this situation.
I honestly, I know it might be crazy, but I could see Luis Castillo gets passed around. That man, I could see him getting sent to LA in a mid-season trade to send him over to LA. Mind you, he's not young, but he's still a good pitcher, a fast pitcher. His fastball was 102.
Not anymore. Now it's like 97.
Well, yeah. Well, in his prime, it was 102. It was very good. So get a Luis Castillo type of pitcher, which I think it will be a good acquisition to them, and it'll be good. But mainly, this is another thing. You need a closer. I can't think of a closer on their fucking team. A good closer on their team.
No, they don't have one. They had Estevez, but he left.
Yeah. Obviously, the Yankees just got Devin Williams, which was a trade. So you got to stay on that standpoint. I know he's old, and I know he sucks in the playoffs, but you're not going to make the playoffs this year. I would go grab an older guy, grab him from the Pirates. I think you know who I'm talking about. A man you hate the most.
If you're talking about Chapman, he's not on the Pirates anymore.
Well, this proves out I just don't know.
He's on Boston now.
Oh, God, he's not leaving Boston. They're not making 2 trades. Scratch that. Hold on. The thing is, I can't think of a closer off the top of my head.
All right, so all in all here, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be doing a lot of trades as GM, and you're going to go after Castillo and Devers.
Yes, but this is going to be outlandish, what I'm about to say. But it has to be done. If I see Mr. Michael Trout not playing bad, because he's one of the greatest players in MLB, bearing his injuries. If I see another injury from that motherfucker, I am sending him so far away from Los Angeles. It's ridiculous. I know he just moved to right field, and I know he's one of the best players of all time. But at some point, you have to capitalize off of him. And not have him just sit there and rot in the fucking roster. So I would send him to, I swear to God, I'm just saying this right now, if they send him, I can't even picture it, sending him to the Dodgers, hell would break loose. I would send him to a team like, for example, the Phillies. The Phillies have a lot of good young stars, a lot of players they could give up for him. I'm sure if they see if they see Mike Trout up for a trade, everyone's gonna offer. Agree or disagree?
No, I don't disagree. The Mike Trout's biggest thing throughout his career is always just his injuries. So if he's healthy, he would definitely be coveted in a trade.
Yeah.
You got to remember though, he does have a large contract, Eric.
Yeah, but at some point, teams have to realize to get their head out of their ass and spend fucking money.
Okay. Hey, look, I respect your opinion, and I have no rebuttal because it's the what if. So as a recap to everyone, Derek, as the general manager of the Los Angeles Angels, is trading for Rafael Devers, trading for Luis Castillo, trading away Mike Trout, and going to find a closer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a pretty good overall consensus. And obviously, bearing this upcoming free agency, sign a couple free agents. Overall consensus, spend fucking money.
All right. Well, that concludes our segment of What If. We'll continue to do these constantly. I do like the non-rebuttal type format because I would obviously have a lot to say to Derek, and I'm sure Derek would obviously have a lot to say to me.
I was holding back a lot.
So I think this is for the best to let you, the fans of the Double D Report, comment below our video on how much of a dumbasses we are. Whether you like our picks of What If, or whether you hate our picks of What If. We are open to suggestions of how stupid we are.
I think every Angel fan wants to virtually smack me when I say trade Michael Trout.
I think every Angel fan is going to think that you're on many, many drugs. But that being said, we're going to leave it up to see how it goes.
Yeah. I love this segment because we get to, and there are obviously no rebuttals. It makes it better to where we can't be like, oh, no, don't do this, and then it could change someone's opinion. No, it's fine the way we're good. We need to keep it like this. But next week we're gonna change the format, as you said, to where are we gonna want to do one overall, or you want to do?
I think this can go on a week-to-week basis.
Week-to-week, depending on how.
I like it. Yeah.
Okay. Unfortunately, My thoughts weren't running this weekend.
As usually, his brain is not.
My brain was actually shut down. My hamster
Okay.
stopped running. He has a
Yep.
concussion.
Derek's brain got put on the 2 week IL.
Yeah, he's on the 2 week IL, and he will be back. Now we gotta go on to happiness. Baller of the week.
Baller of the week!
I'm going to continue to work on it, everybody. Actually, I may be pivoting completely from that to a low pitch voice. Maybe I'll just get deep.
Deep.
Yeah,
I like it. I
maybe.
respect it. I respect
We'll see how the weeks go on. All right, everybody. I look. I don't want to make the fans unhappy, Derek. All 10 of them. So
Don't disrespect the 40 subscribers we have,
this is true.
which is shocking, by the way. Was not expecting that.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, Dean. I think the previous week I started off, and the week before that I started off. I want you to go this week.
You got it, Derek. I will start off on my ball of the week. You cute little bastard. I am going to go out of the sports world.
Shocking.
Not sure when the last time we had one of those, so I'm going to do out of the sports world. I'm not going to do a person. I'm going to do a wonderful thing.
Oh God.
I am going to give my ball of the week to Saturday Night Live. For anybody who didn't know, this past week, Saturday Night Live, they celebrated 50 consecutive years of Saturday Night Live on the air every single Saturday for the last 50 years. They had pretty much every star that they could muster onto the show who's still alive that has performed on Saturday Night Live over the last 50 years, and that included Martin Short, Adam Sandler, Jason Momoa, Robert De Niro. Oh, the list goes on. It was just unbelievable. Even Sabrina Carpenter, Pedro Pascal. They had performances by Lil Wayne and Paul McCartney. This was a huge 3+ hour event, pretty much a culmination of everything where they played old clips, new skits, redoing old skits into one. Will Ferrell coming back for iconic roles. I mean, this was one of the best Saturday Night Lives, definitely in the more recent past. So wanted to commemorate them for being one of the longest standing shows on national television, for having so many great comics on top of that, starting their career on Saturday Night Live, whether it be Adam Sandler, Jim Carrey, Rob Schneider, Will Ferrell, the list goes on. I can't list them all off because there's too many to list, right? So, wanted to commemorate Saturday Night Live 50. Congratulations to everybody over there. Congratulations to all the actors, actresses, producers, viewers who have watched it over the years. It's been one of the best TV shows, of maybe not my lifetime, but definitely, going back from the early 2000s all the way back to the 70s. So, well done, Saturday Night Live. Congratulations. Here's to another 50 years.
50 years of Saturday Night Live. It's crazy, but I think it's still going to happen. Obviously, that is a great one because I think everyone as a kid, they've seen even clips of it, of Saturday Night Live, like the funny moments from like the weather reports or like all like the little skits. They have consistently have kept up with the time, which is good for them.
Yep.
Well, moving on from that, good one. I'm going to go to mine. I'm going to stick in, I would consider the sports world. I'm going to go to the racing. I'm going to go to NASCAR. I'm going to go to the Daytona 500. I'm going to go to the winner of the Daytona 500, William Byron. He's won back-to-back Daytona 500s, which is impressive in its own. I believe there is 50 people who race in the Daytona 500. I could be wrong. There's a lot of people who race in the Daytona 500, and to go back-to-back in one of the biggest races in the world, because it's Daytona 500 and then another big race, Indy 500.
45 driver, by the way.
Yes, he's a very young guy. He won Rookie of the Year in 2018. Surprisingly, I know a lot about this because NASCAR is fascinating to me for some reason. I don't know why, but seeing a guy winning back-to-back in NASCAR is never before seen. Like I don't remember the last time I've seen that happen. So when a big Daytona or like an Indy back to back, it's very impressive. Obviously with the new car changes nowadays, cars changing back and forth, engines being different,
Yep.
and obviously there's a lot of accidents. And I don't know if anyone watched it. There was a lot of accidents in this race. It was a 2-hour delay to keep you the mental
Yep.
capacity to be like, all right, I need to stay calm, get through this race. And he won on the last stretch of it. There was an accident, and he was right down the middle, and he went right through it, and was able to get first place and win back to back. Congratulations to him, and wish a lot more success to him in his career. I know you're definitely shocked by this one, not expecting to do NASCAR out of all things.
Oh, look, hey, we've hit a lot of different areas when it comes to our ball of the week. We've hit tennis, we've hit WWE when it comes to sports. So NASCAR is just the latest iteration of it,
Yeah.
and we're going to continue to bring in new sports. Who knows? Maybe next week we'll choose a ping pong person or a darts person
We're not
or
bringing up darts.
or Russian midget racing. The sky's the limit here.
Yeah, the sky is the limit. Well, that concludes our podcast for this week. Obviously, it's nothing like what it's been, but it's exciting. We're talking about all sports. This is now when it turns into an all sports podcast. So we talk about all sports, which is what we wanted this to be originally. What the fuck was that?
Yes, to your point, Derek. This is definitely going to be an all sports podcast here. Next week we're going to definitely get into more MLB stuff as free agency is pretty much coming to an end now. Most players on the market have been signed, whether that be Bregman and Alonso, the latest big names to get to a team. So we'll talk about the end of free agency. All pitchers, catchers, players. Spring training is officially here, so we're definitely going to dive deeper more into MLB, which is and always will be America's pastime sport. So I'm going to love to talk about that. We'll continue to talk about hockey. Not only that, but the emergency pod coming this weekend, which we will go over USA versus Canada. Looking forward to that. That is going to be a fucking awesome podcast. Just a 20-minute podcast for me and Derek to talk about. We'll continue to talk about basketball. As always, any major developments come in the NFL, we'll talk about them. And as Derek mentioned with the Daytona, maybe we'll even sprinkle in some other sports here and there.
Yep. And one thing we'll unfortunately be talking about is basketball, as it's getting so much worse. We will be speaking about it.
Yep.
All right. Like, subscribe, follow on TikTok. Obviously, leave comments. I opened up a poll for the community. Obviously, it was when I fucked up, but open up a poll for the community. I'm gonna be creating more posts. Have you guys engage with us because more engagement is better for all of us.
And quickly, Derek, how's that Spotify coming?
It's my fault.
Okay. It's
Again,
your fault every week.
Yes. Again, I'll make a shirt that says "I am a loser." Nothing happens. Oh, that's sick. Obviously, it concludes. Like, subscribe, follow. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.